Bianca Belair, Seth freaking Rollins, many, many more. Some of your favorites. Some people you probably can't stand, but that's the beauty of WWE Raw. Monday Night Raw back in Cleveland Monday night, as the name implies. Good luck. Caller 10, these are yours. 216-578-1007 or 800-348-1007.
His first marriage didn't work out. He caught her texting another show.
Sounds like he deserved it.
It's Alan Cox.
On 100.7 WMMS.
Oh, it's some Motorhead. That was the Triple H walk-on music about 20 years ago, I believe. People go back that far with WWE Raw. Hey, Colin Quinn is here. Look at this guy.
That's right.
Consistently named one of America's top 100 Irish Americans, right? Colin Quinn is an Irish name? Yeah. Some Irish American magazine or something.
Oh, good.
Maybe. Yeah,
top
right?
100. Boy, they're really pushing it. You know.
How are you?
Good.
Yeah. Colin is in town to do 3 shows for you tonight, tomorrow, and Saturday at Hilarities. I'm fascinated by the depth and the breadth of your career, quite frankly, because Colin Quinn is a name that everybody knows from something different. A lot of people attach you to Saturday Night Live.
Sure.
My wife was excited because she watched you when you were on Girls.
Oh, yeah.
And we're all just big stand-up fans.
MTV.
MTV.
Back in the old days.
Tough crowd.
Right.
Love tough
Tough
crowd.
crowd.
Miss
Right.
tough crowd.
It
Nice.
was Remote Control was you and
Ken Ober. who
the late
passed
Ken
away.
Ober. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Kari Werrer, remember her? Yeah.
Yeah, she was lovely.
Everyone loved her.
Yeah. And was that warranted? Were there behind the scenes shenanigans on a show like that, or were you just kind of happy to be a part of something like that?
Behind the scenes shenanigans in what sense?
Well, like some of those kinds of shows, I think if it blows up and because you never know what's going to hit, Remote Control hit.
yes,
Right place,
big-
right time. Big deal.
Wow.
Were
was that
people
big
getting
deal.
big for their britches a little bit after that, or no? Was it fun?
No, I feel like we were kind of, we definitely had an attitude, but it wasn't a typical attitude because we were, at first, we're like, oh my God, it's embarrassing. Like we were such snooty stand-ups. We were like, oh my God, we're doing all these Brady Bunch jokes.
Yeah.
All our friends are going to be judging us. Meanwhile, everybody under 23 is like, you guys are the best. We're like, yeah, keep it down. So it was kind of a weird.
The original Matt Rife here.
Right. But Ken Ober,
Nice.
was Ken Ober a comic too or just an actor?
Yes.
He was a comic too.
And
okay.
he didn't have a lot of material, but he was the quickest. I mean, he was so fast.
Yeah.
Speaking of Matt Rife, he was so fast at working the crowd. He was really a brilliant guy.
Yeah.
And he would just make everybody laugh with just like his references were very, yeah.
At what point did you, because more recently people attach you to these kind of long-form one-man shows on the Constitution and things
Sure.
like that. What was the transitional point for you there where you're like, I want to do a really deep dive into this kind of stuff and then develop it?
Well, I mean, I was doing stuff in the 90s too, like Family, like I did a one-man show, Irish Wake, and
Yeah.
I always like those one-person shows, even though I know they're obnoxious and annoying, and for most of us, because of the way the tone is usually very solemn.
Yes.
But I was just trying to do like stand-up, but I just didn't like. Here's how I feel about stand-up comedians. I feel like everybody's has these brilliant observations, but then they change the subject, and people don't get. They go, wait a minute, that was amazing.
They don't develop it properly.
They have it, but
yeah.
right. Or even if they develop it, they just switch subjects, and so they wait, I forgot about that one bit that person did. So I feel like everyone undersells how much great stuff is in there. That's how I feel.
think any given performer, you're like, if you worked that out a little bit more, rather than a string of
Yeah.
premises, you might really have something there.
Yeah, every
Yeah.
stand-up I talk to, I'm like, that's amazing. Like I feel like stand-ups are very, smart.
So Seinfeld directs a couple of these, or at
Two of
least
them,
one,
yeah.
2 of them, right?
And
How does that work out? Like, I'm curious, not just because it's Jerry Seinfeld, and I'm a
Right.
huge fan of his, but how does anybody direct that show for you? Like,
well,
what's
it's like
the
directing
process
any
of that?
kind of play. It's just, he's like a structure guy.
Yeah.
So he's always like, what are you saying there? I don't get it. Which he would say, so when he says, I don't get it, he's kind of telling me like, hey, he doesn't say that, but he's implying, if I don't get it,
They're not going to get it
you think
either.
anyone gets it?
Well,
I mean,
it
I'm
needs
Jerry
to be
Seinfeld.
clear. It
I
needs
don't
to have all the parts to make sure it's very spelled out for people.
Right.
What's the beginning of that writing process like for a one-man show like that? Because, you know, writing jokes, everybody's got their different process, what something pops in your head, but like when you're doing something that linear, that seems overwhelming.
Yeah, but I do stand up. I do it in clubs. I work it all out in clubs. So this way I know it's going to be funny. You know what I mean? Because still, my pride is still like one-man shows don't have to be funny. So I'm always like trying to get laughs, you know? And because I don't like that. I don't want to be categorized with those one-person shows that don't get laughs.
Right. And there's a lot of those, too.
That's my goal, you know?
Right.
So I go into the clubs and work it all out. But I'm really thinking linear terms still. So I got a bunch of stuff. But
Until you have all the kind of
in stand up, you can always stretch off the bag a little bit and bring something into the fold if you have to. You know what I mean? And then eventually, it's funny because it's true. Like if you do a show, what you think, oh, the cerebral stuff will get a bigger laugh in theater, but it feels like the opposite sometimes.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Because
the clubs,
because the thought is because of the environment, you're going to bring a more erudite crowd or whatever. But you might not know it. That's why it's got to get worked out.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it's really shifted in some way in the past few years.
Do you think that might be a level of physical proximity, that the crowd isn't as close to you, so that cerebral stuff doesn't feel as impactful? Like in a theater versus a club?
No, because the theaters is, you know what I mean? Like, I move closer, you know what I mean? I know, you know what I mean? Like, I treat it like a club, so I'm always like, but I just feel like comedy audiences are more literate nowadays.
Yeah.
Or they're more like comedically literate, you know?
It's almost
they all
like
grew up on YouTube and shit.
But it's also like full circle too, where if you go way back, I used to love listening to those old, whatever people think of them. I used to love listening to the old Woody Allen stand-up.
Right.
Because you had a crowd that was laughing at like Noel Coward jokes and crap like that, and you would. It hasn't come full circle like that far, but to your point about people getting those kinds of things.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so funny because even when I saw the movie Raging Bull, and he does this whole stand-up routine where he's like, although I'm no Olivier, he starts quoting Shakespeare in the middle.
Yeah.
And this guy's like,
when LaMotta got fat.
Not gonna be there.
Yeah.
But they all knew that stuff because there was no TV.
Right.
So everybody knew like references, and it was a small group of references. Now,
Yeah.
everybody's all over the place, you know?
Well, that's the thing, too, is that references are fun, but man, they're like landmines now because you're like, I don't know if somebody's going to get this. You know?
That's right.
And the older you get, I know for me, I'm 51, like your brain just goes to the references you know.
That's right.
And I'm always making fun of myself. I'm
That's
like,
right.
there's a nice contemporary reference, Carmen Miranda or something like that. Nobody listening
I like
is going
that one.
Yeah, I like,
Well,
right.
it's like, Mary, you were talking about when you did a college
Oh,
and
God. They didn't know what Jerry Springer was.
Oh,
At a college gig, I did this bit, and I said
A show
we were
that's been out
watching.
for 30 years.
I was like, we've been watching Maury and Jerry Springer, and they didn't laugh. And I was like, wow, that one normally gets a laugh. And one girl yelled out, she goes, "We don't know what that is." And I was like, you're only 18. The show's been off air longer than you've been alive.
But that's the other scary thing because they do know certain things from watching, right?
Yeah.
Like, so certain things that are old because they
like
watch
if it was on an episode of Stranger Things, then they'd be like, "We love Jerry Springer."
Right. And they know
Right.
some old shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Telling me they should really catch up during COVID. They could have gone up
Yeah.
and
They
Jerry
Could have
Springer.
binged some
Right.
Jerry
Kids.
Springer.
I watched Friday Night Lights during COVID, you know?
Yeah.
Great show.
Colin Quinn is at Hilarities tonight and tomorrow and Saturday. That is one show per night. So it's 7 o'clock tonight, it's 7 o'clock tomorrow night, and it is 6 o'clock on Saturday night. And you can go to hilarities.com for all the details. So you got married a couple of years ago.
Sure.
Not recently, but pre-pandemic, right?
Yes.
Good timing or bad timing?
Right.
Honey, this is going to be great for us.
Oh, no.
You know?
It was good. It was good. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, because it was her first time she lived with a guy, too.
Really?
Oh, wow.
So for her,
Okay.
she was like, you know, it's probably all new and horrifying and exciting at equal parts.
Yeah.
You know, but for me, I mean, I've lived with other people over the course of my life. I was
Sure.
married with, and so it wasn't quite as shocking to me. But I'm sure she was semi-shocked. I'm sure she was on the phone to her friends, going, "Is that all right? This guy leaves the kitchen like that, you know, whatever, you know." And they're like, "Oh, you're
that's-
lucky. That's the least of it."
Yeah, right. It's going to get so much worse, honey.
Yeah.
But then the pandemic hits. Didn't you do a drive-in comedy
Yeah,
show? Did
yeah,
you
we
do one
did
of
a
those?
drive-in special.
Yeah, because like Hannibal came through here and did one. It was really hot and cold because like some people at least tried to get into it, and other people seemed so resistant to it. I mean, Hannibal just had a terrible time here. But then, like, Nate Bargatze did one, I think, and he had a great time. And, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Your vibe on it was what?
My vibe on it was, I love doing it because, you know, it was funny. They were just honking their horns instead of laughing. And, it was fun. Just
you're still in front of people.
You feel like, and everybody, the audience even feels like you're sneaking out at night, like you're having a sleepover.
You shouldn't be doing this.
And it's like a slice of time. Like, we don't have to go back to that, hopefully. But, like, you know, that was kind of the thing, to do those Zoom shows or outdoor shows, all that different stuff. Like, that is a moment in time that we can always look back on and be like, it wasn't our best show, but it was different and fun, and, like, we tried something.
Oh, my God, exactly.
Right.
I mean,
all of the projects that you've done, I mean, you show up in Sandler movies, and, you know, do you hit Jerry up and go, hey, can you take a look at this? And then he goes, just let me direct it or whatever. What's the, or was it?
Well, for those shows, the first one, he's like, he goes, if you do a show, I'll direct it. I'll produce it. And then he wanted to direct. I need a director. You need a director to get reviews on off-Broadway. That's the way, for some reason, that's the rule. He goes, I'll direct it, you know. And then, you know.
Well, like TV now, the showrunners are more important than the stars.
That's right.
Yeah, who's running the show?
Yeah.
Whose project is this?
They make totally.
So
Totally.
Are you, because there's no, if somebody was like, I need a Colin Quinn type, there really isn't a Colin Quinn type. They either get you or they don't. So are people constantly coming to you, or do you usually have your feelers out? I mean, is it more where people.
What?
Well, just for any project. I mean, I imagine you can.
People know I'm not interested in doing any of their projects. Literally,
that's kind of what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking.
I'm known as just don't even bother asking. He's got a bad attitude, and I've been like that forever. And it really hasn't worked in my favor. But for some reason,
crazy.
For some reason, I'm always like, you know, I'm going to change. I got to start really. And then I'll read something I'm like, ugh, you should be doing mine, because I write projects all the time that never get made.
Right.
So I'm always like, oh, they won't do mine. And by the time you bring it to me, it's like that joke about the guy that like goes to borrow his neighbor's rake.
Lawnmower. Yeah.
And then by the time he gets here, he's like, what if you wouldn't let? Why should you let it to me? He always do. I keep your lawnmower. You know.
Right.
But I mean, I don't like doing people's projects. I don't like doing anyone's projects.
So they
Adam
really
Sandler
have
asked
to.
me to do grown-ups. He called me up and he goes, "Don't say no. Just do it."
Right.
I go, "What?" He goes, "I'm doing this movie. Just don't say no. Just do it."
Right.
And I go, "All right."
But it's probably also contingent on like for Trainwreck, okay?
Right.
Like it's contingent on like, do I have scenes with Attell? Who are my
she
scenes
forced
with?
me to do that one too.
Yeah, right.
She gave a speech at some award show. She goes, "Colin Quinn didn't want to do this. He thinks he's too young to play my father." She's yelling.
You probably were too young to play her father.
Well,
you know.
But I mean, but it was funny.
Yeah.
I have to be forced to do all of it.
So they got to really
I hate
get their hooks in you.
Well,
that's
because
part of the
nobody's
appeal,
still,
though.
even as we sit here, nobody's done my projects. They're great.
Yeah. So you have to write for yourself, then go perform your shows because, you know.
But I also write screenplays and TV shows that don't get made.
What was the last one?
Did you ever see Cop Show? That was my show.
Cop Show, yeah.
On
It's
YouTube?
funny.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
So you go to them and you go, so you shop it around and they go,
shop it
no, and
around
you
all
say,
these
screw it, I'll
people.
put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right. But
It's
you
just-
can get, sometimes you can get a lot more coverage that way.
Well, nowadays, yeah. When
Now
I
you
did that,
can.
it wasn't
When
quite
the
the
Cop
same
Show
thing.
wasn't quite,
Was that like 10 years ago? Or
Yeah, it started about 10 years exactly.
Okay.
It was like 7. Yeah. I should have, if I'd done it at a different time, probably would have, maybe it would have popped more.
just
Who
cut it
knows?
up and put it on
Right.
TikTok.
Yeah, I
Okay,
know.
check.
You're right. You're
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I should've
little
put it on
clips.
TikTok.
Little clips.
I'm the
I
one
know.
person that can get through to Colin Quinn.
See? No, you got him doing his own
You're
stuff.
no agent.
Hey, he figured it
I
out.
know. Everything he says, I go, yeah.
Yeah.
When you put it that
Bill's
way.
right.
Uh-huh.
But it is
So,
true.
so are these shows you're running like a new special, or are you just kind of just?
Yeah, I'm
What
playing
are
around
these?
with my new special. Yeah, I did this whole thing, Small Talk, which I shot. Once again, it's going to be on YouTube, of course.
Mhm.
But I started playing with the other stuff. You know, stand-up is just one of those. It's the greatest because you can keep working on everything. Like I was working before I came over here.
Keep going back
You always
to it,
have
yeah.
new ideas and everything new. You know, I mean, you know, it's fun because it's always different. You know.
And then as soon as you get it on film, you go, that was better. I got
got
another
a tag.
punchline, another tag.
Oh yeah, well that's the other problem, of course.
Yeah.
I remember watching Comedian with you and Jerry, and then watching it with the commentary was better than the film itself.
That's what everybody says. Yeah.
Because you guys are so honest and just it's so fun and just you're back and forth, and then the scenes with Orny where you guys are just like,
right?
Why are you talking about like this? Like, like this isn't the attitude of every comic. You're
right?
Acting like it's this big thing when it's like I remember the Orny says, people are afraid of me, and I'm okay with that. And Jerry goes, no one's afraid of you.
Well, like you're in this movie with Seinfeld. I mean, that had to be, for Orny. Something like that would have to be immensely intimidating. Or
Sure.
And he's still, Orny's still a comic. It's not like the guy faded into
Hilarious
obscurity.
comic,
He still goes out
Great
and works
comic.
and does good work. Colin Quinn is at Hilarities tonight and tomorrow, both 7 o'clock shows. And then Saturday night, 6 o'clock show.
6 o'clock, I'll be doing the Carmen Miranda references.
See? We're each getting one little hook in to Colin Quinn. That's all right. Well, it's very cool for you to come in. Thank you, man.
Thanks
Yeah, it's
for having
nice
me.
to meet you. Take
Thank
care of
you, guys.
yourself. Let me take a break here. If you want to send a text for anything, 35192 to get me there. If you're listening on the iHeartRadio app, you can leave messages, and we'll be back after these.
With a